Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Charbo. This is 3 Buck Theater, and as you guys know, I am a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I have been now for 9 years, ever since the dropping of the first Iron Man, May 2008, and that stinger at the end of the film when they come out and like, hey, what's going on, Nick Fury? And he's like, I'm putting together a team, and you're like, it's the Avengers, of course. Then a month later, with the Incredible Hulk. You know, the end credit scene with that thing with Tony Stark showing up to talk to William Hurt's character, whose name I can't remember right now, but saying, you know, basically, we're putting together a team. And that was the beginning of I could say, probably the most successful franchise ever made. All right. People out there will argue Star Wars. And to be fair, Star Wars has done exceptionally well. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan too. But we're 15 films into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they've done gangbusters. Just gangbusters. But there's been the problem. There's always been the problem when it comes to the interconnectivity of that universe, especially in 2013 when that universe decided to make its first foray into television with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This, of course, coming after Avengers with Coulson dying and then them, resurrecting him through the Tahiti Project in the show. And then now they're finishing up their 4th season, hopefully going to get a 5th season and probably going to be the final season. Let's be fair about that. But there hasn't been a major crossover in quite some time. Now, in the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you had Lady Sif from Thor come over to Earth. You had Nick Fury show up. You even had, in season 2, one of the bad guys, one of the Hydra heads, pop up in not only the TV show, but then also Avengers Age of Ultron. It was a quick thing. If you missed it, you missed it, but it was there in the very beginning of the movie, taking on the Hydra base. And then since then, nothing. And then you've also got the hugely successful Marvel Netflix series that are now coming up on The Defenders in just a couple months. And people are clamoring for a crossover. People are begging for a crossover. They want a crossover. God damn it, this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? And I did totally forget about Agent Carter in there as well, but that's another big one. 2 seasons of Agent Carter is nothing to scoff at. You have Inhumans coming out in just a couple months. That's going to be on the big screen for 2 weeks because they're shooting the first 2 episodes in IMAX. These things are supposed to be coming together. Not only that, you have Cloak and Dagger on Freeform, and Hulu has The Runaways. Marvel Television is blowing up. Not as big as, let's say, Marvel movies, but they are all supposedly interconnected without actually all being super interconnected. In the Netflix series, they have references to the event in New York, right? They mention it in the first season of Daredevil. They mentioned the big green guy a couple times in Luke Cage. There's a dude on the street selling bootleg copies of footage from the ground level of the incident. It plays into the overall story, but it's not anything that we get any kind of specific connections on. But that might change. And the reason why I say that is because IO9 spoke with Kevin Feige about the possibility of bringing it all together, and he was actually optimistic about it. Now, what you have to remember about Kevin Feige is that whenever time this gets brought up, and let's be fair, this gets brought up a lot, he's always kind of quick to downplay it. Someone is quick to downplay it. Nobody ever wants to talk about it as being a thing. Nobody ever wants to really kind of go into why this isn't happening. Although if you read between the lines, if you follow the trades, you actually start to see why this isn't happening, because this actually goes back to 2014 when they decided to start making Captain America Civil War. And there was a huge breakup when it came to Ike Perlmutter, who was running Marvel at the time, and Kevin Feige had to answer to Ike, and Ike is a notorious frugal spendthrift. And when it came to bringing on Robert Downey Jr. for Captain America Civil War, the budget for Robert Downey Jr. was just too much, and Perlmutter didn't want to do it. And Kevin Feige basically went to Bob Iger at Disney, said, hey man, I'm going to quit if we don't do this my way. And Iger backed him and basically told Perlmutter, nope, Feige and Marvel Studios, answer to me. Well, that left Marvel Television in the hands of a notorious spendthrift and a person who you can easily tell has a fucking vendetta. And so as a result of this, the Marvel TV side of things, which has done well in its own right, has been moving further and further and further away. And it's unfortunate. And every time this subject comes up, I will retell that story for people who don't know it yet, because it's important for you to know if you are confused about why we have not been seeing this yet. And just recently, just like 2 months ago, I did a video saying Anthony Mackie said that the cinematic universes aren't going to cross over, but things have changed. In fact, this is what Kevin Feige had to say. I know I've taken a while to get to it. This is what he had to say. He says, "Not necessarily. The future's a long time. So the truth is, I don't really know, but there are a lot of TV shows being made, and hopefully we'll continue to make a lot of movies. At some point, there's going to be a crossover, repetition, or something." And it's not like the most direct piece of information out there. I think there's a kind of a lot between the lines there. And a lot of it has to do with the communication between LA and New York, Marvel Studios, Marvel Television, and how they talk to one another. It's also about opening up budgets. It's going to be about definitely, trying to work within schedules, so on and so forth. And it's unfortunate that it's gotten to this point. But on the bright side, the fact that Kevin Feige is relatively optimistic at this point in time over these particular issues gives me hope. And I was ready to write off the MCU as being completely interconnected for a while. I've been very, very upset with them for a while over this, because you figure it's something the fans are clamoring for, and this is boiling down to egos that are battling. It's a dick measuring contest between two sides of a country, the West Coast and the East Coast, and over two divisions of the same company who are just currently at war with one another. And the thing is that the TV side of things would be totally benefited by having more of the movie people come on over, even if it's a cameo appearance, so on and so forth, because that would then bring a lot of fans who have never seen the show over to watching the show. And then, of course, it would also benefit the movies, because fans who may not go to the movies as often, but like to watch TV shows at home, and that's a growing number given how many people are refusing to go to the theaters as often these days, they might go to the theaters and go see these characters on the big screen. It adds a sense of legitimacy to these Marvel shows to get those characters on the big screen, and it's one that I feel that they should actively be working towards. But I'll take optimism over pessimism or cynicism or an outright no. I will take optimism, because optimism is what brought Spider-Man to the MCU. It's what kept these things going. It's what allowed for them to grow to 15 films over the course of 9 years. Optimism is the way to go about things. And if Kevin Feige is optimistic, then I'm optimistic. At this point, all I can do as a fan is just follow his lead. That is it. And we're getting so many shows. We're getting so many cool things out of Marvel TV these days that, yes, they're probably feeling the pressure at Marvel Studios to find a way to bring the two together. And as soon as we get there, my God, it will be outright glorious. But these are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you think that we'll ever see the cinematic universe come together? Movies, TV, cable shows, whatever. Do you think we're going to get that? Or do you think it's just a pipe dream? It's never going to happen, and we should stop asking. These are things I'm curious about. Go ahead and write them down in the comments below. My name is, of course, Mad Charbo. You've been listening to 3 Buck Theater. Thank you guys so much for watching the video and liking and commenting and subscribing. Check back often for more movie news from me. All right, guys, have yourself a great day, and peace out.